Bitcoin is massively oversold, and historical speaking, these are the best buy opportunities for Bitcoin. We are perfectly getting supported by the 100 SMA line, but this is a very important decision moment for Bitcoin next week. We have been predicting the market in the past weeks here, but this is what I'm expecting next for Bitcoin. Then, if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, we are seeing some very weak signals, which could signal for a rally for all the other altcoins, and of course also Ethereum. We have seen the Fusaka upgrade went live this week on Ethereum, but every single update we have seen on Ethereum, we saw a major volatility move coming on Ethereum, and this is what I'm expecting next after the Fusaka upgrade. We will dive into that and way more in today's video, but first of all, it's very important to follow me over on X to keep updated throughout the day, and of course subscribe over on my YouTube channel, like this daily update video if you love those updates, and let's dive right away into the chart for now, because what we can see is on the lower side of the chart we can see the stochastic RSI. The red zone is very simple, is above 80, means Bitcoin is overbought. This is a really good time to take profits on your Bitcoin positions. When we are ranging in the blue zone, that is a moment you want to wait to see what the RSI stochastic is doing next. And under the 20 zone is the green zone, is the oversold level for Bitcoin, and that is exactly where you want to buy your Bitcoins at. Because what we are seeing in the past, every single time the stochastic RSI dropped below 20, that was when Bitcoin was way too oversold. And we all know what the market makers want is something too overbought. They want to push the price lower, because if Bitcoin is overbought, everyone is making money in the market, and that is not what market makers want. And either if Bitcoin is too oversold, nobody is buying Bitcoin, and that is the exact moment when market maker and institutions buy back their Bitcoin. And right now that signal is heading here once again. If we look in the history of Bitcoin, we can see we dropped below the 20 line. Bitcoin pumped 24% here. Exactly, if you bought at the 20 zone here, on the green zone, you would have made 24%. Then, right here in September, we saw it once again. 87% pump if you bought in the green zone here. Then we saw it in January 2024. If you bought at that major oversold level, Bitcoin pumped 75% after. Then right here in September 2024, we were way too oversold on Bitcoin. That is exactly what market makers want. We buy our Bitcoin exactly in these zones, and we saw Bitcoin increase 85%. And then March 2025, again, dropped below the 20 line on the stochastic RSI. Bitcoin was too oversold. Bam, 50% profit if you bought there. Right now, we are in that zone once again. And if you look at the history here, you can see, and that is a matter of fact, I don't know if you think that Bitcoin is going to 0 or 1 million, but if you look at the history of this data, this is the moment to buy your Bitcoin. If you are selling your Bitcoin at this point, you are betting against all these times, these 5 times, that this was the buy opportunity of Bitcoin. And if you sell your Bitcoin at this price, that means that you are not trading with data, but trading with your emotions. Because if you look at the data, this isn't the time to sell your Bitcoins. Then if we look at the 100 SMA line, and this is a really important chart, I am bullish on Bitcoin, but if we drop below this 100 SMA line, we will probably head in a bear market. Also here, I said, if you look at the data, then you know what to do next with Bitcoin. That's with this chart to buy them, but also with this chart. If we break below, we will probably head in a bear market. It is just data. History tells us that if we drop below the 100 SMA line, we will see a bear market. We have seen that happen in 2018. We have seen that happening in 2022. And right now it will probably happen once again. So that is why we are in a very important important decision moment. If we get supported by that 100 SMA line, which is a really good support zone for Bitcoin, and we will pump further towards the upside, we will probably get back in another upwards move here. But if we weaken here and break the 100 SMA line, move further towards the downside, then I'm tempted to say that we will probably head in a bear market and we will see a dump of approximately 40 to 50% on Bitcoin. That is something also here. This is a bearish scenario. This is a bullish scenario. Just look at the data and you know what to do. Right now, nothing to stress about. We are getting supported. Do we close below? That is probably something that I will tell you then. That is maybe a sign to sell your Bitcoin before a bigger crash towards the downside. Then if we look at this chart, we have been predicting the market perfectly here. We have been predicting this move towards the downside here live on my YouTube channel. We expected this move towards the upside and we expected this drop towards the downside. And I'm not capping here, just look at all my previous daily update videos. We have been perfectly calling this move. Right now, I have two zones and I am looking for a trade and even spot buys. Right here, the first green zone was where I bought my spot, 50% of my spot. Then the second green zone is here below at the $84,000. Right here we are getting supported by this green zone, but a really important thing is it is weekend. The volume is pretty low and I think that we can drop further towards the downside here. Not all the way to this level, but I want to see volume kicking in on Monday before longing this market towards the upside with a trade. Of course, I bought spot here. If we can't break this towards the upside, we will probably see more downside, and the $84,000 is next for Bitcoin. Then also, if we look at the CME gap, Bitcoin is just ranging here this weekend. The CME gap is at approximately $89.8 thousand. If we drop from off this point, that is the CME gap that is open, will tend to be filled next week. If we pump above it, then we will expect a pullback towards that CME gap. So that is something to really keep in mind. For now, the price is really staying at this CME gap line, so nothing to worry about. I have some really nice trade setups in mind, but they need to unfold throughout this week. But if they unfold, I will share them live with you over on my X page and of course in my daily update videos. So please make sure to sign up on WeX through the link in the description to take those trades. I will give you the setups, I will give you the alpha. The only thing you need to do is to trade it by yourself over on WeX. And we have something really exciting here because we are pushing YouTube way too hard here. And if we hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, we will give away $1,000 to trade with over on WeX. So you need to do two things. Please make sure to subscribe over on my YouTube channel to hit that 500 subscribers. And please make sure to sign up on WeX through the link in the description. If we hit the 500 subscribers, one person will win the $1,000 trading bonus. So please make sure to do so. Then if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, we can see that we have been dropping ever since slightly from off this line, and right now we are seeing it happening once again. But a really important thing to know is also the MACD crossed bearish, which means that every single time we saw that happening, we saw a bearish cross happening right over here, and we saw a major dump on the Bitcoin dominance. The MACD crossed here bearish. We saw a major dump in the Bitcoin dominance. Right now it is happening once again on Bitcoin dominance, and this is a really important thing because we are rejecting very important resistance here, as we have done right over here. This setup looks way too similar like we have seen in 2021. We rejected this resistance line. We saw that MACD crossed that cross. Right now we are seeing the exact same setup. And in 2021 we saw a major move, money flow into altcoins, and I expect that that will happen next in 2026 in January, this chart gives us a little insight that we will probably drop towards that 45% area. And that will mean that there are major gains to be made on altcoins. Also, if we look at Ethereum, for the people who don't know, the Fusaka upgrade went live last week. And every single time we got an update, we saw a major move for Ethereum. We saw it happening with London. London update went live, Ethereum pushed towards a new all-time high. We saw it also happening with the merge. The merge went live and we dropped exponentially towards the downside. The Shapella went live, we dropped immediately towards the downside. Duncan went live, we dropped immediately towards the downside. Spectra went live, we pumped towards the upside. So one thing we can say in the history of Ethereum and the upgrades, we can say that volatility will kick in after a major update. Of course, we can say if we will pump or dump, but one thing is for sure, there will big moves come towards Ethereum. And when I look at the Bitcoin dominance, it is a possibility that this move could be down for the Bitcoin dominance and could be up for Ethereum. And if we see that move up for Ethereum, we will see a fast and sharp move towards the upside. And I think that a $4,000, $5,000 Ethereum is a really realistic price after this Fusaka upgrade. Also, if we look at some on-chain data, we can see that Ethereum is on track to settle $6 trillion in stablecoin volume this quarter. And this is massive. Because if we look at this perspective against a Visa or a MasterCard, we can see that Ethereum already settled more value than Visa and more than MasterCard on chain. This is massive. These are the biggest payment subscribers here in the space, and Ethereum is just outperforming them. And you are still not bullish on Ethereum about payments, about everything that is happening on chain. This is a massive green flag and a massive development for ETH. And I really think that Ethereum is here to stay. And this is the beginning of Ethereum. We will see a surge heavily in the using transfer volume of Ethereum, and also there will have a supply shock on Ethereum, because right now we are at $3,000. Nobody is interested in buying Ethereum at such this price. But I think if we break the $5,000, $6,000, everyone wants to buy their Ethereum. But that is not the point to buy your Ethereum. Now is the point to buy your Ethereum, because things are looking really good on chain for Ethereum. And also with those Fusaka upgrade, it is looking really good. Of course, this is on chain. This is other data than what we are seeing technical on our charts, but always do your own research about every single thing in crypto. That was it for today's video. Please make sure to follow me over on X to never miss something in crypto ever again. And of course, please make sure to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Like this daily update video, and I will see you tomorrow by a brand new Crypto Daily Update video.